Hello everybody. I had no idea that my first busk would be for a man, but that's exactly what happened. And the way that happened is that despite the fact that I've wanted to make corsets forever and make a corset for myself and even started a corset for myself and did a corset top, I would put off doing a busk because it intimidated me. But my son wanted me to make him a corset vest for prom, and because I cannot say no to my children, especially when they want me to make something for them, I did it. I made a corset vest that I think turned out really, really pretty. So I'm Laura, and first of all, welcome to my channel, which is called Sewing Up Style. And in this case, I sewed up some style for my son to go to prom in. I've been kind of talking about this vest on Slow Sewing Sundays for several weeks, so about a month. It's been about a month that I started working on it. I think I started at the beginning of April. And prom was last weekend, so it would have been like April 27th or 28th. Over the course of that last month, I did 2 mock-ups of a pattern by the pattern designer named Corsets by Caroline. And Caroline's corsets are actually mostly for women, but she also has these men's corsets. And so that is the only place I could find a men's corset vest. There were some steampunk looking vests on like Simplicity and in their costume section, but an actual honest to goodness corset vest, that was the only pattern that I could find. It was a very nice pattern. It had 5 pieces, and that basically, I will show you. There was this front piece, this side piece, then a middle side piece, the back piece, and then the very back piece. I made up the 2. One was a size 38 and one was a size 40. And so when I had made up the 2, we decided that the 40 actually fit better, and I just ended up modifying that back piece just a little tiny bit because sorry, let me show you. This, I took it out of this right here. I'm pretty sure, yeah. I took it out of this line, this seam right here, and I just graded down from about here, and just, it normally would have been a little bit, about ½ an inch wider. I just took it right out of here. And then I just made it so that this would match up with it. So the shape was the same. And so overall, I took off an inch, ½ an inch on one side, ½ an inch on the other side, for the whole back. And I ended up with a perfect 2-inch gap, about maybe 3-inch. I haven't measured, but the picture on the thumbnail is my son's back, and so you can see that it's nice even all the way down. And so it turned out perfectly. The fabric came from Fabric Mart as usual, because the theme was Great Gatsby. He decided he wanted to go for the cream and black. That was the outside shell part, and then the inside fabric is just a really, really nice quilting cotton from my local quilting store, and you can see it matches the jacquard. I'm trying to make sure you can see just perfectly. It's got a beautiful, it's really, I love the inside as much as the outside. The directions of the corset are not, they're thorough, but they're not like plenteous because there's only 5 pieces. And since I'd already made the corset top, my denim corset top in January, because I had done the corset top before, this was very similar. And so I just kind of read through the directions a couple of times, made sure I kind of knew what I was doing. And when I got to the putting in the busk, because I've never done that before, I actually went on YouTube and I watched a video by Red Threaded, and I will link that video in the description box below. But it was very helpful and it was super easy. I don't know why I had been so stressed about putting in a busk. Let me show you kind of what you do. I bought the busks off Amazon, and you have the facing, which is on the inside, and then you have the outer piece. And you can kind of see it's not even, but from far away you can't tell. That's how I gauge how everything turned out. If you can't tell from far away, it's all good. But so you have the facing on the inside, and you just take I just extended this piece, because on the corset it was just straight here, but I extended it so I could fold it over. I put some interfacing on this part, and then I put some interfacing on the facing part, and then you just match them up. You mark where your busk comes through, and this is not the best. You can see where I did not iron off the little marks. It's heat pen. I could iron them off, but I just kind of forgot, because quite honestly I was sewing up until he left for prom. The grommets, we'll talk about the grommets. But anyway, so you just mark on both pieces where you want the busk little prongs to go, and then you just sew, and then you skip, and then you sew, and then you skip, and then you sew, and then you skip, and you just do that the length of the busk, and then you push the busk in between the facing and the front of the vest, and then you just sew around the busk to keep it in. And that is all there is to it. It was so easy. I don't know why I was so stressed about it. But then the little buttons are very similar. You mark where the buttons go based off of the corset. So you lay the corset on top of the panel where the busk is. Okay. So you lay the corset busk, the prong part, over the top of where the buttons go. And then you mark where the holes should be, and then you put a hole in the fabric, and then you just do like you did with the prongs. You slide the button panel part up through here, and then you just pop them through the fabric, and then you just sew it all together. I also used fray stop, because it is even now fraying, but it's okay. You can't see that it's fraying. It won't last forever, but for a first corset vest, first busk, I'm okay. I'm okay with the way this turned out. So I had some problems with the boning channels, not because there was a problem with the boning channels, but because there's a problem with how I did the boning channels. So you cannot see them. Of course, here's the boning channels. I put the channels on the lining so that you wouldn't see anything on the front of the vest. But I used twill tape instead of like making extra seam allowance and then sewing it down and then putting the boning channels in. I just used a 1/2 inch twill tape, and then I sewed on the edges down, like you can kind of see. I sewed down on the edges, right? And so that was supposed to leave 1/4 inch for the boning channel, the boning to go through. And I had those heavy duty zip ties that are 1/4 inch. So everything was supposed to work well. They didn't fit. So Saturday morning, the morning of prom, I was freaking out. So I went to Menards. That's like a home goods store where they have everything you could ever want. They have groceries. It's not like a Walmart. It's more hardware-ish geared, but they also have a little bit of everything, including electrical things. That's where I found the 1/8 inch zip ties. I got the strongest that I could, and then for the ones that, well, I just used them for everything, and I just put 2 of them in instead of just 1 to make it sturdy enough. He was not interested in, you know, like reduction. He just wanted it to be firm around his body so that it could show off his body, and, you know, look cool. So the eighth inch zip ties worked fine. I did try to tape them together before I put them through, and for some of the channels that worked, but on others I ended up just putting the 2 in there, and then I made the bias binding and bound it, and bound the bottoms. So what happened was I bound the arms first before I even did I put in the channels, and then I bound the arms, and I bound the top, the neck, and the front of the vest, and then I put in the boning, and then I finished binding the bottom of the vest. So at that point, everything was done, and I just needed to put in the grommets, which was the worst nightmare of it all. The grommets were falling out, and then if I tried too hard, if I pushed too hard on them, they get all misshapen. So I couldn't, there was like no, I don't know, and they're kind of sharp, like down here. I don't know if you can see that. It's really sharp, and so I was afraid it would cut through the ribbon, which it didn't. There's not a lot of pressure on it, though. Like I said, he wasn't going for reduction. He was just going for, you know, a close fit. So it worked. It all worked. Nothing fell apart. The grommets did stay, but I don't know what I did wrong with the grommets. My husband tried. We had grommets just like popping off. He walked from upstairs to downstairs while I was doing something down here working on the grommets. He was upstairs working on the grommets on the other side of the vest, and by the time he got down here, he's like, oh wait, where'd it go? It just popped out. So yeah, luckily we didn't lose too many, or the ones that did fall out, I was able to just put it back in. It wasn't like too misshapen or, you know, bad looking. So the grommets were the worst. So when I do my own corset, because now there's like nothing holding me back from finishing my corset other than time. So, but when I do my corset, I'm going to have to find some other way besides grommets to do the back. In fact, I think for this corset, I was going to do eyelets. Maybe eyelets would be easier. So that was it. Those were my experiences. I really liked the pattern by Corsets by Caroline. I linked below her Etsy shop, and then she's got so many different kinds of corsets. I might go buy something for myself. Also, I think it turned out beautiful. I mean, it's just, I feel very proud, even though I know the grommets are kind of falling off and like certain things are not quite right. I love it. I think it's amazing. I think he looks amazing in it. So yeah, and he said so many people at prom told him how cool it was. And one person asked him, they were all girls, but one of them asked him, where did you get the corset vest? And he was like, my mom made it. And she was like, tell her she's a goddess. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel special. Now that you have seen the corset vest and you heard that it's really not that hard, is that something that you think you might like to make? Is there any other kind of corsety type thing that you would like to make? Maybe some stays? Or would you like to make a men's corset for the man in your life? Or you could make it for yourself. I mean, really, clothing is becoming very interchangeable. So Let me know, what do you think down in the comments? Well, thank you so much for joining me on this ride through April to get to a finished corset vest. Thank you if this is the first time you've seen me or this video. Thank you for watching. A huge thank you to all those new subscribers that came after my Discovering Denim video. I'm very excited to have you along for the ride, and a very hearty thank you to all of you wonderful people who have been along for the ride for a while now. Next videos coming up, I am going to review Nomi 2048, and because I made it for my other son Blake, his birthday is on Saturday, so I made him that for his birthday. And then on the next week is going to be the next You Asked For It video, and it is going to be Simplicity. I took it down to cut it out. I don't know where it's at. It's the Simplicity one. So yeah, thank you. You guys have a great weekend and a great upcoming week, and I will just be seeing you soon with another video. Bye.